yourself?
Well, I'm Lee, and I'm from Andertons, like that, which hopefully you'll know that because you're watching my channel. But look who's this! Paul. He's over in the UK.
Lee. I'm not Lee.
Well, we couldn't decide if you were Mr. Paul, Mr. Reed, or Mr. Smith, or all three. You know.
They have this bad joke in America that I'm himself.
You are himself.
It's really awful. I mean, they literally made me a pass for the show that said himself. I said, I'm not wearing this thing.
Yeah, I guess I've never really thought about that, I suppose, you know.
You know what the issue is really? It's that there's not that many guitar makers whose name's on the door, right?
Yeah.
You've got Bob Taylor.
Yeah.
Well, Chris Martin.
Yes.
And PRS is an abbreviation for something. But some of the, Leo Fender's not with us anymore.
No.
And Orville Gibson's not with us anymore.
No, not for a long time. Yeah.
And so I think there's some of that.
No, I love it. I mean, I get a kick. I think sometimes, to be honest with you, I walk into a store every day with my name above the door, just like you walk into your business with your name above the door, and it gives you an extra sort of, Sometimes I think you just go, you know what? It's for guys, certainly for me, and I'm sure you're the same. You just go. Sometimes, in fact, a lot of the time, it's not about the money. It's about the feeling. About what does somebody think when they see that name above the door?
I gotta tell you, for me, that's not my experience. My experience is maybe the same as yours in a different way, in that I fell in love with the guitar as a kid. And for me, going to work is about trying to make sure the guitars are as good as they've been and better every day, both, right? So you have to keep up the quality and make improvements. We get all of our managers together every Friday morning at 8:30, and we open up cases just like your customers and you do. So that we will have the same experience you do, and we grade them on everything, how they look, how they sound, how they feel, everything about them, how the electronics work, how the switches move, you name it, we grade it. And to me, that's very, very important to my business, so that, there's so much internet business going on right now. When the box comes, you got to trust it, that it's the real deal, right? And for us, unless we're doing that, it doesn't work. Although, in America, that whole internet sales thing started with McCarty's, because people knew if they bought a McCarty, it would be the same and the same and the same and the same. Although there's still nothing like getting your hands on the guitar.
It's interesting because certainly guys like yourself and Taylor have done an extraordinarily good job on the consistency side of things. So I think, if you've played a custom 22 and a custom 24, and you go, I really like, you have a buddy that has that, and you go, I really like that.
You'll get one.
You'll get one. It's not like some other brands, of which I'm a big fan too, but where you've got to go on the search for the Holy Grail. You've got to go.
Well, that's because their window's very wide. You get good ones and bad ones, right? So in my mind, the way it works is there's a line, and it starts with guitar, 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 and then at some point it becomes musical instrument, right? And our job is to get that window above the line. That it's not just a guitar. This is a musical instrument that somebody could make a living on, they could record records on. The guitar is the violin of our time, and I want it to be a musical instrument, not just a guitar.
And it is emotional as well, isn't it? I kind of, funnily enough, I think there's the very recent video that I did with Rob Chapman on the Santana specials, the SE, so this is a real affordable guitar. There's a jam that we do at the end, and I literally say to Rob, and I don't even realise the camera's rolling at that, and I just went, I completely lost myself in that guitar for that moment.
What's wrong with that? That's good.
That's what I'm saying. That's the and for me, that's kind of me as a musician. That really just plays for my own enjoyment. I don't make a living out of playing. That's what it's all about. Those little moments when you just lose yourself and you just go, I had something special happen then, and you go, that's the whole reason why I love guitars. So let's talk about 2015, because 2015 is an important year it's a celebration year for PRS. You are 30, and you've made some changes to your core lineup and your SE lineup. So we're just going to sort of talk about those a little bit, and maybe encourage a few people that perhaps haven't been down and tried a 2015 guitar in their local PRS dealer to go and check one out. So
well, these are the new 8515 pickups.
Yeah.
And we make two versions. We make a 5815 and an 8515. The 58 one has a cover, and the 85 is. Had I known as much about pickups as we do now, in 1985 when we started, that's what I would have put in it. Which is why I don't actually think we filmed that until date. That's why it was named that.
Yeah.
And there's a real clarity, and the high end is very musical. So it's not something that's harsh like an ice pick. It's very musical. What we just played in the thing ahead, that's just straight into the amp, you know.
Yeah. I mean, they are. I mean, certainly. Again, I think I quite like what you've done. Not most. That's not entirely fair, is it? But a lot of manufacturers make the choice of saying, look, if I need the customer to believe that they're getting a premium pickup in the guitar, I better go and use Seymour Duncan or DiMarzio or whatever. But you've kind of really put a lot of energy and effort into your own pickups, and it's paid off, I think, hasn't it? Because
well, the humbucking pickup originally had a cover on it. And it was never meant to see the light of day. The coils with the big gaps was never meant. So when we designed these, what would it have been had they filled the ring in? Yeah. And that's what this is. Also, the other thing about these rings, which, you know, it's not real obvious, but when you beat on the guitar over and over again, sometimes the screw moves and the pickup height changes. This is buried inside the ring, so you can't do that anymore. And that's just made
you're
stable.
Expert on these things. What was the original reason for putting a cover on a humbucker? Purely aesthetic, just to make it look nice?
No, absolutely not. It was to get rid of the noise. It was like a mu metal can stuck around the humbucking pickups, so Ted McCarty would get what he wanted. He wanted no hum and no buzz in the pickup. It turns out you take the cover off and it doesn't really change the amount of buzz, but it does change the way it sounds. So that was originally why they did it. They did it to try to make the things quiet. He wanted something to buck the hum.
Yeah. So we've got cool sounding new pickups. Have you made any? Are the other changes more aesthetic, or are they?
Well, we've changed the rotary switch to a slide.
Yeah.
And the inlays, if you put it up for everybody, these are versions of what we did on our 25th anniversary with we've moved the birds around a little bit, and we do these special inlay runs at our anniversaries. And so in 5 years, going to somebody say, "Oh, you've got a 30th anniversary," because you can tell instantly from looking at the guitar.
Do you know? And this is going to sound terrible because I should know this, having been a PRS dealer for probably 20 of the 30 years that you've been going. Yeah. What was the significance of the birds?
My mother was a bird watcher.
Okay.
So I never ever even thought about it. I had to put inlays in a guitar for Peter Frampton, and I went down to the store and I got a bird guide, and that was done the next day. I never even thought about it. It was just what blew me away was that people would call and go, "I got to have the birds."
Yeah.
We were putting these dot moon inlays in the guitars, and I thought that was going to be the majority, and the birds would be once in a while. That is not what happened. I've got to have the birds, and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
What are you talking?"
Yeah, what? I do remember.
I didn't think it would stick like that.
In early days of being a PRS dealer, it was very much a question that we would ask do you want the moon or do you want the bird inlays? Now it's in fact, for us, pretty much as long as I can remember, it's just a given, isn't it?
I haven't seen a moon inlay in years.
You get a bird inlay guitar, don't you? End of. That's pretty. So what else? Did I read somewhere that were there any changes to the trem block or anything? Had you done?
I guess there's all kinds of changes. So it was an original Leo design, but there were several problems. One, the saddles used to move around, so you had to trap them in a case. Second, the bridge did not return to the same place, so we put 6 knife edges in the front.
Yeah.
The arm used to break off, and it would never sit where you left it, so we changed that with a nylon bushing. There was, you wanted the guitar to stay much better in tune, so we drilled the block out so the ball string is much closer to the top. We put locking tuners on it and a low friction nut. Everything we could possibly do to get the guitar to stay in tune. And over and over and over again, I hear from my artists, this is the best tremolo for me, in that it stays in tune beautifully.
Yeah, no, and somehow you've managed to replicate that even down onto the more affordable version that's on the, I'll just pick this up, because again, I've used the tremolo systems on these extensively and just been consistently surprised at how well it stays in tune.
So when you talk about our anniversary, we've put all the latest updates in it, whether it be the new stain colors or the new electronics or the new pickups or the new rings or the new inlays or whatever it is. You know what else is interesting? We've figured out how to carve a neck in the computer. We can virtually draw the neck shape in the computer without having to hand carve one and then copy it. And now we were able to get our neck shapes exactly the way we wanted, and we started cutting them and they were perfect the first time.
And what drives the, because you do 3 basic neck shapes, so wide, thin, wide, fat,
pattern thin, and pattern regular. So the pattern neck is your standard stock neck. The thin one is much, it's the same, but it's much thinner front to back. And the regular is a little smaller nut-wise, width-wise. So they all came from very familiar neck shapes from the 50s, whether it be things that the G company or the F company made, that over and over and over again an artist would go, I like this neck shape. Because you got to remember, an artist has got his hands on this thing for a decade. You know, sometimes the guitar's with him for, it better feel comfortable, you're dead in the water.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's...
Do you have complaints from your customers about our neck shapes, or do they like
No, not at all. I think the opposite, to be honest with you. I think it's, and it's just nice. I mean, I guess one of the things I don't think I would find working in guitars as fulfilling as I do if the general consensus from everybody was the same. You know, if everybody liked the same neck or the same pickup or the same shape or the same weight, it would all get boring. And so it's nice, it's nice. But there's certainly, I mean, some of the stuff I love on, and I've always liked on PRS is, you know, the rolled edges on the fretboard, the height of the frets. It's got that kind of, you never really pick a US made PRS up and kind of go, yeah, you know what, I need my tech to just do a little bit of work on this.
No,
and
that's,
it'll feel
my
fine.
hope is that never happens.
Yeah.
I want your customers to pull the thing out of a box and be able to play a recording session with it the next second. That's the idea.
So it's very cool. So let's just quickly move on to the what you're doing in the slightly more affordable line. So this is SE. And this is one of the 2015 models, so not quite so many alterations on these as there has been on the USA. So it's essentially, we've got a new inlay and some new colours.
Well, it's the same anniversary inlay, and they're new colors, but we sell a lot of SEs because for the money, our hope is that it's the best thing money could buy for that guitar. If you're going to get a guitar and you have a certain amount of money, we want this to be absolutely, for that amount of money, the best guitar you can buy.
Yeah, and these and
is it going well with your customers?
Oh, phenomenal.
Oh.
I mean, it's the I guess if anything that with the SE standard was always sorry, not SE standard. The just whatever you call the regular SE, the SE that's been around for a while.
Oh.
It was always an absolute contender for anybody that was looking to spend that kind of money on a guitar. But and when I say a contender, I mean that as in, there was other guitars as well that were good
You have
as
a
well.
lot of brands here.
Yeah,
You
a lot
have
of
to
brands.
say something like that.
But the-
I mean, you know, if you said something else like that, you'd have only one
Yeah.
brand. That's not cool.
But the SE
You
Special.
carry all the main brands, right?
Yeah, we carry pretty much all the main brands. SE Special, or SE Standard, sorry,
Yeah.
the new line that's
Yeah.
come out, and that one was one where we went, okay, this is probably the guitar to beat now, as opposed to, you know, look, absolutely, if you have this kind of money, check this out, but maybe there's other ones to check out as well, and you know, you'll like what you like. But yeah, SE Standard was pretty groundbreaking, we thought, for you know, quality for the money. What's your take on how do you and how important is it, do you feel, that you need to sort of constantly re-justify the difference in price between a US guitar and say, you know, every year or every 5 years or whatever, when you know, you uncover a new manufacturing facility in the Far East, whatever, and it's like, wow, this is amazing, and the price is amazing.
No, we stay with the same facilities from day one. Once we've taught them, we don't want to
Right.
unteach them. We don't jump around because of price. That's not what we do. We've trained them to do
Yeah.
it the way we want. I've never what you're talking about, justify, I don't even know what that word means, because to me, either it's worth the money or not. Look, let's say you get 10 of the new model in.
Yeah.
If the customers don't think it's worth the money, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
If they think it's worth the money or a really good deal, they will buy them, right? If they take them home and they don't like them and they come back, that's a real message to you as well.
Yeah.
This is I mean, people don't give money for something that's not worth it long term. I mean, pet rocks go away really quickly, you
Yeah.
know, but good guitars will sell over and over and over again. Good amps, good gear just keeps selling. The thing that's nice about a Magic guitar is it will find a home. It will.
No,
find
I
a
agree.
home.
But do you think it's kind of important to you know, I wonder how important is it that you keep some natural distance between the sort of the quality of the components and the timbers and the stuff that you use on the American stuff, so that there's I guess what I mean by justify is that I suppose probably one of the anybody that works in guitar retail here will get asked this question a dozen times a day. But you know, is a Gibson Les Paul Standard worth 5 times what an Epiphone Les Paul Standard is? Is a PRS Custom 24 worth 5 times what an SE Custom 24 is worth? And
I think they should ask the opposite question. How the hell can they make that for that price? Because to me, look, if you don't use the woods that are generally available in this area where they make this, it's going to cost too much. So
Yeah.
some of this is driven by the area that it comes from, all right? If we're winding all of these SE pickups in America and shipping them over, it adds to the cost, and
Yeah.
then you don't make the price point, right? So some of it's driven just by need, but these pickups, we spec them out. These bridges, we sent all the drawings. We made sure that they were to our drawings and to our specs. I mean, just on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
So it's not like we drew a thing and said, well, the American guitars are going to have this kind of mahogany and this curly maple, and we'll make sure that this one doesn't have it, so it's not as good. That's not the way it works. We were trying to make a extraordinary instrument for a price not easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
These things sell for less in your store than it costs me to buy the parts for this one. That's more driving the bus, but it's still, I mean, look, if you give me the guitar, plug it in, it should sound good right now. I mean, just plugging the instrument in, right? use that to record a record with. It sounds
Why
really
wouldn't you?
good. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
I mean, I can hear a difference, but that's still really good sounding guitar.
Yeah, I certainly think tone and price do not have a correlation between dearer, more expensive does not mean better. In tone, I think build quality, feel, generally there's a fairly steady correlation between the more money you spend and the more time you spend building the guitar. It should end up feeling better and lasting longer.
Yeah, but that's got a nice neck shape.
No, I agree, but I'm not trying.
I didn't notice any difference between the neck shapes when I was trying.
Really, I noticed the rolled edges. That's the one thing I notice on the American stuff. I noticed the rolled edges, but it's yeah, and that's kind of the point I was getting to. Was almost is it ever something that you discuss at PRS? Which is
yes,
it's like if we make this guitar for $500 and somehow this guitar's $5,000 because that's what labour prices are doing and everything like that. Is there a point at which you just go, man, it's just we can't justify the price difference, or is that not something that you foresee?
What would be bad is if that was in every way a better guitar than this. That would be
bad.
But that means, but not. Then we're doing a very good job on this, and we need to improve that. All right. So it's we don't think of it the way that way, but I guess we're not. Look, when I was young, I was told a story, and I don't know if it's true, that at Sony, regardless of price, it had to be extraordinary. From the battery on up, to the digital recorders. And, I thought that was a really good attitude. Regardless of the price, it's got to be wonderful product.
Yeah.
So if you bought one of their Discmans or Walkmans at the time, that would have to work just as well as something that cost $10,000, right? And to me,
it's a great
I thought that was a really good philosophy. I thought that Sony was quality regardless of price. And that was when I started the company, and I used that as a way to think. So I don't want it to be it's half the money and so it's half the guitar. That's not cool. Our new S2s are 2/5 the money, and we think they're extraordinary guitars. I don't want to hand Carlos Santana an SE and with his name on it and go, well, it's not good enough for you to play. That's not okay.
No, that's a great philosophy, to be honest with you. And it's I think ultimately it's the only way, isn't it? I mean, it's if you had if the philosophy was, it's $500 and it's okay. I mean, what does that message send out? I mean, like you say, it's got to be, this was the best guitar that we could make
for $500 or whatever it is.
Yeah, or whatever it is, and try it. And as you rightly say, it's a great guitar. If purple is not your thing, there are other slightly more subdued colours in this range.
Oh, look, there's a variety of colours.
Yes. Well, look, this is, what are we in now? We're in March, so you still have a little bit of time to go.
2015. I hope this video lasts more than a year. So
yeah, absolutely.
It is 2015.
So I just want to wish you all the very best for your 30th anniversary. It's been our pleasure to be a PRS dealer for as long as we have, and
you guys have been doing a wonderful PRS dealer, Lee, and I really appreciate it. You've got a crew of very, very smart, very skilled experts here that know how to talk to people when they call or when they come in, and I think that that's key. I mean, look, here I am in the store, and I sit down immediately, and you're all set up to do this video. That's just the way you guys roll. It's the way you operate. You're trying to do things right.
Yeah, I think that's, a little bit like, I guess, your passion is in making sure, regardless of how much a guitar costs, it has to be an extraordinary guitar. And I don't know, I suppose I feel a little bit the same every customer that comes in, whether the guy's buying his first guitar or his 50th guitar.
Now we're talking.
He's got to just go,
that
was the best experience that I could have had.
I have always not liked stores that didn't pay attention. They only paid attention to their best customers, and they paid no attention. I was at a store once, literally. Can I see that guitar? Who are you? You know, like, no, I think I'll leave. You know, I don't want. That's not the people's experience when they come in. That they're well taken care of, right?
Yeah. I mean, and that's, you know, whether it was, you know, we started a school in Guildford as well to sort of encourage, encourage more people to play music. And it's our lifeblood, isn't it? You know, if somebody's 15 years old, and I remember when I was, 13, 14, 15 years old, and all the distractions there are in life at that time, pressures at school, girls, sport, music, and it's like for 1 second you just sort of think to yourself, I wonder what it'd be like to play guitar. If you go to your local guitar store and it's just a terrible experience, you're lost, aren't you, to that? That's it. We will never get you back at 25 or 35 or 55. It's just like that ship has sailed. So, when that guy comes in and he goes, can I try that dusty guitar?
Of that. You're telling me that somebody's experience when they first walk into a guitar store as a very young person has an impact on whether they want to play long term. You're right. I never thought of it. And where I come from, you went to Mecca. At the time when I was a kid, it was Washington Music Center, and the adults would take the kids to the store to get them indoctrinated into guitars. Yeah,
and funny enough, I know when I was on the store a lot, we used to get the kind of the 12, 13-year-old, particularly with younger kids like that, and they'd come with the dad, and they'd be like, yes, I'd like to buy a guitar for my son, please, like that. And I go, oh, great, what have you seen that you like? Well, the music teachers told us that this brand is the one to buy, like that, So and you can see the kid kind of going, I don't, it's like, I don't want to say anything, Dad, but that's not the cool one that I really want, like that. So I would always make a real effort to go, well, that's cool, but what do you want? And the kid would be like, I don't know if I should say it because it's not the one my dad thinks I should have. And it's like, well, no, tell me which one do you want? Would
the dad hear this conversation?
Yeah. So it's awkward because I don't want to upset the dad, obviously, because he's the guy at the end of the day paying for it. But I would then try and say to the dad, look, this is,
this is what he wants, and I've got a good one.
And when I was that age, it was like if somebody said to me, you must play this guitar, it's not, I didn't think it was cool, I'd be like, I don't really want to play it, because it's not cool. I would actually, if I thought the guitar was cool, then I wanted to play it. So I would always say to, mums and dads, it's like, this is your kid's kind of, we've got to go, and trust me, I won't sell you a bad guitar. I won't sell you a bad guitar, but it may not be the one that your music teacher said you should have, it may not be the shape that your dad would buy, but and if
kids don't want their fathers.
They definitely. Well, eventually they
sometimes
do. Eventually they do.
And when you die, I'll have
Absolutely.
that. That's great.
Well, anyway, look, we talked plenty.
Lee, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you again for taking the time to come over to the UK.
Thanks for taking the video. Appreciate it.
Yeah, cheers, Timbo. Anyway, that's it. So I'll put a link below where you can find out more about PRS guitars and maybe watch some other videos of Paul and stuff like that. And actually go see some of the videos that we've done on all of Paul's guitars with me and Rob, because they're great too. Anyway, that's it. Should we go have some lunch? You want us to jam some more? We could jam some more. There's my other lead.
Pick up the other guitar.
I might just jam with the it might not be in tune. Are we still in A?
Same exact thing you started with.